Hey guys, and welcome back to the Depressing Engineer. My vlogs, I don't know. Today's topic is, am I having a midlife crisis? Let's find out. Oh wait, I don't have an intro, that's right. So I guess we'll just get into it. Damn it. If I had an intro, that's where I would launch it, but I don't have that. I have an outro, which, I don't know, in this day and age, does that even matter? Alright, before we actually go into whether or not I have a midlife crisis, I guess we should define it. So, of course, Wikipedia. Midlife crisis is a transition of identity and self-confidence that can occur in middle-aged individuals, typically 45 to 55 years old. I am 29 years old, so I guess it would be a quarter-life crisis, whatever. The phenomenon is described as a psychological crisis brought about by events that highlight a person's growing age, inevitable mortality, and possible shortcomings of accomplishments in life. This may produce feelings of intense depression, remorse, I don't know why I said that, and high levels of anxiety, or the desire to achieve youthfulness, or make drastic changes in their current lifestyle, or feel the wish to change past decisions and well, that is true. I do feel like I wish I could change past decisions and events. Like, you know, going deaf in my left ear would be a good thing to go back and fix, but, you know, that's not happening. Apparently this term was coined in 1965 by some guy named Elliot Jacques? I don't know. Generally speaking, a midlife crisis is a point where, you know, you sit down, you start really thinking about the hard-hitting questions in your life, like, what am I doing with my life? Am I being productive? Is this where I thought I would be in my 20s in this case? Or is this where I thought I was going to be in my 30s or 40s or whatever? Here we go. Let's go with this Forbes article that says 15 signs you've hit your midlife crisis. Sorry, I don't have the page up, but you can find it. You know how to Google things. You can find it. Alright, so their first thing is you're apathetic. Now, apathy for me has definitely been something I've had in the past. Recently I feel like I've been going through a lot of mood swings where 1 second I'm totally fine and I'm chill, and the next second I'm like unbridled amounts of rage are just coursing through my veins. And then I'm just super sad, and then I'm totally fine. But in the past, I'd say especially in 2019, actually, in fact, when I was taking antidepressants, I was very apathetic. And that's kind of what antidepressants really are supposed to help regulate your mood. So when you're taking antidepressants, instead of bouncing up and going down, the extreme example is bipolar disorders, when you're going from like bottom straight up, and then that lasts however how much time it takes to recover from that. But antidepressants are supposed to help regulate that so that you're not bouncing up and down between those. But sometimes they overregulate, and then you end up becoming more apathetic towards everything. I know when I was younger, I used to think I was apathetic, like I just don't give a crap or anything like that. But I've learned now that a lot of the times when you're convincing yourself that you don't care about anything and that you are apathetic, that you actually care deeply about something and you're just trying to numb yourself away from it. Obviously, you know, alcohol and certain other substances help with that, but I don't know if apathy's... Again, these are just like little pieces of symptoms that can build up, showing you that you're having a midlife crisis, but I think apathy on its own is probably not just this is it, I'm going through midlife crisis. I think we've all been apathetic from time to time. Obviously, if you're feeling apathy for a long period of time, then it's kind of like, and apathy is usually a symptom of depression. A lot of people think depression is just pure sadness and, you know, crying in your bed and not being able to get up or take a shower or take care of yourself or do whatever. But a lot of it's actually apathy, where you just honestly don't give a crap about anything. Just nothing matters to you anymore. So I'd say I used to kind of be apathetic, but not so much these days. I've been trying to care a little bit more. So their number 2 is you dread getting out of bed. I think a lot of us have this problem. So maybe we're all having midlife crises. But many midlife crises showcase spectacular splurges, such as a new car. While this might temporarily placate, it's not always the answer. It's time to stretch and learn. I totally skipped the first sentence. I don't know why. When you find yourself asking why, wondering how you got here, or not wanting to get out of bed, it's a sure sign change needs to be in your future. So I do kind of agree with that first sentence. If you're having troubles getting up in the morning, and I mean, there's a lot of variables that could play into that, you know, whether or not you're getting enough sleep, or if you have sleep apnea or whatever. But it's another thing when you do wake up and you feel energized, but at the same time you just still don't want to get out of bed because, you know, I think more than just dreading getting out of bed is, okay, the reasons you're getting out of bed, right? Like, for most people, it's the 9-to-5 job. I have to go to work, I have to go make money and do whatever. And I think a lot of us all, and not necessarily 9-to-5 either, but I mean, I think there's a statistic somewhere floating out there that's about 70% of people hate their jobs. So I imagine almost all of those people dread getting out of bed. I know I dread getting out of bed every morning because I have to go sit in a cube for 9 hours, or sometimes I sneak off when no one's looking because no one really cares if I'm there or not. So I'm just like, whatever. If it's 2 o'clock and there's nothing going on, why am I here? I could just go home and I can work remotely doing nothing, but I've already said that in a bunch of videos, so whatever. Anyways, 3, you're debating but not taking action. I don't know if that has anything to do with a midlife crisis. That's just, some people are just indecisive. I guess if you're trying to determine whether or not to take like a large step in a direction somewhere that's like a life-changing thing, and part of it's just you trying to, sorry, I'm just crap all over my desk, I'm just throwing it out. But I don't even, debating, if you find yourself debating which next step to take to improve your personal and professional life more than you are exploring them, it is time to change your behavior. Do your research. Which is funny because it's like, do your research. It's like, isn't technically debate, well, I guess doing research is taking action, but whatever. I'm not even gonna justify this one, to be honest with you, because there's too many variables that could be. Your life is on autopilot. I think that one's a pretty good one. I think the past 2 years lately have been a lot of autopilot where, you know, get up in the morning. I've even explained this to my mom a bunch of times where I'm like, wow, life is great. I get up, I take a shower, I get ready for work, I get in my car, I drive to work, I sit at my desk, figure out what I have to do for the entire morning, eat lunch, then figure out what I have to do for the rest of the day, fill out my time card, go home, think about how I have to go to work the next day, eat dinner, maybe work out if I'm feeling good about myself, which pretty much hasn't happened in the past year. so that usually doesn't happen. Lay around because I'm super tired and hate myself, and then wait for the weekend comes. Weekend comes, and I'll either play video games, browse the internet, and do whatever, and then Sunday comes and I'm like, man, I really don't want to go to work tomorrow. And that's pretty much every week of my life for the past 2 years has been wake up, eat food, go to work, eat food, continue working, go home, eat food, take a shower, sleep, eat, go work, sleep, cry, sleep. So yeah, it's, I think another part of, there's one thing to be on autopilot where you're just doing those things, but like if you're not being challenged in a healthy way either, that's the biggest part of the autopilot is if you're just at work and it's the same bullshit all the frickin' time, you're doing the same thing. It's basically saying you don't have to turn your brain on anymore. You just do whatever and nothing really matters. Like none of your, even if you change your actions slightly, it doesn't really change the results at all. That's the big part of autopilot, is when you're not being challenged in a healthy way, because I'm pretty sure most people need to be challenged in a healthy way in order to progress as a human being. If you're not progressing as a person and you're just plateauing, what's the point? You're not challenging yourself to make yourself better. I'm one, I should follow my own advice, obviously, but do as I say, not as I do. But in any case, it's just, this is why I have a problem with not doing anything at work. It's because I like being challenged to a certain degree. There are some things that's like, this is a part, if you've ever read the book, the subtle art of not giving an F, it talks about that, where if you're not being challenged, or not necessarily being challenged in a healthy way, but it's not necessarily to just stop caring. It's about knowing where to put your F's where it matters. So like, or I guess a better way to phrase it even is to say, what are you willing to struggle through? Because like I could write a textbook about electrical engineering if I sat down and made myself do it. But at a certain point, it's like, man, I don't want to put my effort into this. It's like, but then like making a YouTube video, I can edit the video, add music, add icons, and do all this video editing. And sure, it's a struggle and it's challenging, but it's challenging me in a healthy way. And I'm putting my F's where I actually give an F, as opposed to trying to put my efforts into something I truly can't get behind. And again, there are times you're going to be like, well, I'm not motivated enough to do this. And it's like, well, man, if you're going to be sitting there waiting for your motivation to come, you're going to be waiting a long time, because I'm almost never motivated to do anything. But the way you have to do it is at least put yourself out there to doing it, and do it for at least 60 seconds. And usually if you can do it for a minute, then your motivation will start building up, and you're like, well, I'm already in the process. It kind of snowballs into okay, I'm already doing it now, so I'll just keep doing it. But if you're doing it for, a decent amount of time and you're not really getting anywhere, it's probably, you need to reevaluate what you're doing exactly. Anyways, I think that spent too much time on that one already. So 5, you've lost your purpose. I think this one definitely ties into the last one, where you're autopiloting. It's like, okay, well, this is clearly, here, we'll just read what it says. You feel like there's no purpose in your life, or there is a bigger purpose than what your day-to-day life currently offers. Excuse me. The pursuit of finding a purpose can be downward spiraling in itself. Start volunteering and focusing on making a difference to other people outside. So yeah, the general idea is asking yourself the big question. What do you actually want to do with your life? Like for me, I went to engineering school. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to not necessarily invent stuff, but I wanted to design products or even troubleshoot things to make people's lives easier and better. Like one of the biggest things I wanted to do was work on prosthetics or biomedical things and actually help people that are in need with my engineering expertise, which now I basically have like no engineering expertise because all I do is sit in a cube all day. But it's just sitting down and asking yourself, what am I doing this all for? Like my current job is I basically sit there and every once in a while I'll get something to fix, but I never get to see where the fruits of my labors are going to, or if they even matter at all. And if you don't have a sense of purpose and like no sense of I'm the cause of this, I'm causing results, then it's like, well, what the hell's the point of anything? And again, this is why midlife crises and depression kind of hold hands with each other, almost meld together, because a lot of these symptoms kind of start relating towards depression. And it even said in the Wikipedia article that a midlife crisis, part of it can be like depression. But I think, honestly, in my opinion, depression's kind of its own big thing. Whether you're talking about brain chemistry or just like parts of your life are messed up. But yeah, I definitely say purpose is a hard one. Your plan isn't working anymore. Yeah, I'd say I definitely agree with that one. Like I said, I went to school, got good grades. I sacrificed tons of parts of my life, and now that I am where I am, I don't know if any of those sacrifices were actually worth it. Like, I met cool people along the way, sure, but like, did it truly benefit me? I mean, there's an argument to be made that engineering jobs usually pay well. Unless you live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where they pay garbage. But like, engineering jobs in general have decent salaries and decent benefits. So in that sense, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I didn't have, I guess privileges or benefits from an engineering degree, but I still feel like there's a hole somewhere that's not being filled. Don't take that out of context. But yeah, it's just like, you put all this effort and all this shit, and look where I am now. I'm sitting in a cube. Like, is this really where I wanted my life to be? I don't think so, buddy. So yeah, I guess your plan isn't working on it. A part of your plan isn't working anymore. This is not something that's just going to happen only for people that are from 45 to 55. This happens to anybody. I think a big part of it is just reevaluating your life and thinking, okay, I'm clearly not happy with what I'm doing right now, so what can I do to make it better? And what sucks is, it's like getting rid of a bad habit. If you've been doing something, if you've been keeping up with a bad habit for a very long time, it gets harder and harder, and it takes more time to undo that habit. That's why when you go through school for so long and you do all these things and you take all these interviews and you do exactly what people are trying to tell you what you should do in life, and well, this is the safe route, you should be doing this, and don't even try doing this stuff, you just focus on that. And then you focus on that, and then you're like, but I'm not happy. It's like, well, crap, now I have to undo everything I just did. So whether that's taking online courses and learning a new skill or whatever, but it's just like, and a big part of that too, with your plan isn't working anymore, is mentality. Mentality is so hard to, I mean, my if I'm being honest with myself, my mentality is garbage. And I've been reading a lot more books. I guess they're kind of like self-help books to like kind of help change your mindset over time. But goddamn, man, I've had a terrible mindset for so long. It's that's gonna be a hard one to break. All right, their number 7 is making big changes that aren't you. Making out of character life changes could be a sign of midlife crisis. Be a sign of midlife crisis. Wouldn't it be of a midlife? Whatever. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's time for taking... I can't read. I swear to God, guys, I can't read at all. It's a time for taking stock, reevaluating... I've already said this stuff. Look, making big changes isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's what they say in the second sentence. I guess what they're trying to get to is like making big changes. I don't know. I guess like buying a Porsche. I mean, whenever you think of a midlife crisis, that's kind of the big thing, right? It's like spending large amounts of money on things you really don't need just to make yourself like, I think part of it is making big changes just for the sake of changing something. And this ties back to, which one was it? Your life is on autopilot. If your life is on autopilot, you're getting bored. You're not being challenged in a healthy way. You're going to get bored really fast, and you're spending months, years even, doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. And that's when the question comes up of, holy crap, am I going to have to do this for the next 40 years of my life? And then when I'm super old and rickety, I'm going to be falling apart and being like, why didn't I do this shit when I was younger? So obviously, sometimes making a big change is a good thing, but if you're just making a big change just to change the scenery, basically, that's not good. if you're making a big change just to be like, screw it, I'm gonna do this, just make things different. Again, this is one where you really need to just sit down and rethink, like, okay, like if you are gonna make a big change, you have to sit down and think, why am I doing this? What's gonna come out of this big change? Is it a good thing? That's up to you to decide, obviously, whether it's a good or bad change. For me, I don't really have this symptom, making big changes. I guess maybe I should make some big changes soon. I guess in some degree I have. I moved from Ohio to Indiana to Utah to Arizona. I guess those are big changes, but I don't know if those are necessarily not me. It was just, I was finding engineering jobs across the country, and where I lived in Ohio, there were like no engineering jobs near Cleveland at the time. I think there's a lot more software stuff going on there. And Dayton, actually surprisingly, Cincinnati and Dayton actually have a decent amount of engineering jobs, but again, a lot of those are defense contracting jobs, which honestly I wouldn't recommend. You're jealous of others. Okay, again, I don't see that being a midlife crisis thing. I think a lot of us just compare ourselves to other people who are, especially with social media nowadays, man. Oh my God, you can go on Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's a big one because people are constantly just posting pictures of like, oh, I'm at the beach drinking cocktails, or I'm over here like skydiving. And people, all social media really is snapshots of the good parts of your life. Nobody ever really sits down and goes, man, my life's garbage, and I hate doing this, and this sucks, and I hate my voice, and I hate my face, and I look stupid, and whatever. Because we live in a culture where nobody wants to hear that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, stop bitching, whatever. And that's a whole other topic I could get into, but again, just social media is just these snapshots of all the positivity in someone else's life. So when you're seeing that constantly in your feed, you're like, man, everybody else is living a great life. What the hell have I been doing? And then that sometimes will push you into a depressive state where you're like, God damn, I really messed up. And from that point on, when you're reaching that point, you're either going to say, you know what, I'm going to do something so that I'm not jealous of others, or you can just build up more rage. And I've kind of done a little bit of both, where I'm like, you know what, I should be doing cooler stuff too. And I've also looked at other people's posts and be like, man, screw that guy. He doesn't deserve where he is. Like, he didn't work hard for that. Even though usually they do work hard for where they are. But it's just, jealousy can really eat at you pretty fast too. And it just makes you angry and frustrated and sad. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I probably should have showed the articles that I was reading off of. But again, I'm pretty sure you guys are smart enough to know how to Google search things. You can look these symptoms and signs up on your own. See if you're having a midlife crisis. Let me know in the comments below if you're having a midlife crisis. Again, we're all humans. We're all in the same boat together, really, in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, some people are in the nice part of the boat, and some people are in the shittier part of the boat. But we're all on this stupid planet together, so we're all human. We're all going to have issues and emotional problems and life struggles. So you know how it is. But again, if you're feeling like you're having serious issues, it always helps to go talk to somebody. I think that helps mitigate a lot of these issues, is when you actually have friends and family to go talk to, or even just a therapist to go talk to. Makes things a lot easier to handle. It's kind of like with first world problems. You know, people like to say, oh, well, you're complaining about first world problems. That's not a big deal. People are starving in Africa. It's like, well, yeah, but there's still problems, man. That doesn't invalidate how you feel and how you should handle your issues. So, I don't know. I'll leave you with that little bit. In any case, appreciate you guys as always, and thanks for watching the video. If you liked this, obviously subscribe, hit the like button. If you really hated this video, make sure you hit the dislike button, but you have to hit it twice. Really, just double click that dislike button if you really hated this video. That way I'll get a bunch of notifications saying, man, this guy really hated this video. So thank you guys, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye.